Well, turning now to Afghanistan, where a bitter winter is making life even more difficult for displaced and poor people. Some 360 families in the Hiladwal camp outside of Kabul have been trying to keep warm amid heavy snowfall. The country has been hit by a severe drought, and foreign support dried up after the Taliban took power. The United Nations says about 55% of Afghans are facing extreme hunger. Let's get more on this now from activist Nazila Jamshidi, who joins me. Nazila, reports are that people are burning household items like furniture to stay warm. How dire is the situation facing the Afghan people now that winter has set in?
Well, look, I speak to Afghans across the country at least once a week. And as I hear from them, the situation is out of expression. What Afghans are facing is, I cannot express enough how the situation is getting unbearable for Afghan. People do not have access to cash. Many people, especially women, have lost their jobs since the Taliban takeover, and many have not been paid in the last few months. The prices of food and other necessities like fuel and medicine are double. Like the situation are just keep getting worse even as the temperature is dropping. And I can say it's like an emergency situation in Afghanistan. When people are facing like 100 types of problem inside the country, and even in the major army, I'm mostly talking with the people in the major city and live alone. I mean, we can imagine how it's gonna be for the people in the remote areas. So I think all I want to say is that the situation is an emergency situation, and an emergency situation requires much more active role of the United Nations and its partner and other aid agencies to do something. They need to really scale up the humanitarian aid, especially in the season of winter.
It certainly is an emergency situation, but it must not have come as a surprise, though, given that the economic situation facing Afghanistan since the Taliban took over and U.S. and international partners cut off international aid. And we know that many parts of Afghanistan have very harsh winters. What are the main challenges in providing support and getting aid to the people of Afghanistan right now?
Well, there are a lot of, I mean, mostly the most part of this problem are the Taliban themselves. Unfortunately, the sanction imposed on the Taliban, and because of their behavior, because of the massive violation of human rights, especially women's rights in the country, they are under the heavy sanction. And unfortunately, the international community, and especially the United States, they do not try to come up with a better revising of their sanction policies. I mean, by that, I mean the sanctions should affect only the Taliban and their leaders, and they should keep them responsible and responsive to the violation of human rights they are committed, and not innocent Afghan who have already suffered from decades of war, and now they are suffering from an end of the war. So these are the main problem. Even humanitarian aid reach people in the winter and save them in the winter. It doesn't help them. It doesn't help them with the economic crisis that entire country is facing with. And with that, they really, I mean, we need international community, international organization, and the group of Taliban to come together and reach out to some sort of agreement. And the Taliban really need to change their behavior and their policies over human rights, minorities' rights, and women's rights in the country.
Okay, we'll leave it there for now. Nazila Jamshidi joining us from New York. Thank you.